DFC, that's dementia-friendly community, building a dementia-friendly Tunbridge. So you wear many hats, Christine. Can you just tell us about some of them?
Yes, certainly. My day job is that I'm managing director of a funeral business in Tunbridge. But in my spare time, and that's a bit of a joke with the family, I run a charity for people who have suffered bereavement, and also chair the Tunbridge Dementia Friendly Community.
How did you come to be involved in both these organisations?
The bereavement charity, I set it up 10 years ago, and that really was as a result of having spent 30 years in the funeral sector and witnessing the difficulties that people had following the loss of usually a spouse. Mostly older people are badly affected with loneliness and isolation. It can happen in younger people, but mostly older people struggle. And I just felt that there was a need for some sort of social outlet for them to get together, a bit of peer group support. And over 10 years, that's grown hugely, so that we now have 11 groups that run across Tunbridge and Tunbridge Wells and some of the villages. The Dementia Action, I went to a funeral service conference and did a Dementia Friends session, and it sparked an interest. I'd had relatives, I still have a relative actually, I had two aunts and an uncle who are all sadly no longer with us, who all had dementia. But most recently, my cousin has just been diagnosed with vascular dementia. And so I've witnessed it at first hand. And there is a huge need for people to be aware. So that was the beginning of that.
I mean, we've got an ageing society. There seems to be a greater degree of awareness over dementia that's developed over the last couple of years.
I think there is. I think there's still an awfully long way to go. It was really kicked off a combination of the Alzheimer's Society and the government, who put together the Prime Minister's 2020 challenge, which was to get communities to be dementia aware by 2020. The fear is that by 2020 there'll be about 1 million people in the United Kingdom who are living with dementia. So it's a massive problem. And through awareness comes greater support. People will feel more comfortable in their own communities, more cared for. And it's not just the person who has dementia, it's the person who's caring for them too. And it's another area where loneliness and isolation is really a massive problem.
So 3 years to 2020, how ready are we to meet that target?
We're not. Still got an awfully long way to go. There are a lot of dementia-friendly communities up and down the country, communities working to be dementia-friendly. There are a lot of communities that haven't even begun yet. 18 months ago, Tunbridge hadn't begun.
Tunbridge is a pretty big town as well, so if you haven't got a society like that in Tunbridge, what hope is there for the smaller areas?
The difficulty is that so much of this work is dependent on volunteers. And I don't know whether that's a reflection on today's society, but people are very loath to do something for nothing. Getting volunteers for anything is really difficult. People want to be paid for their time, or they have no time. Everybody has manic lives.
Yeah, it's very much the sort of talk of the sandwich generation, people caring for their children and then caring for their parents as well. Their free time is being squeezed a lot.
Absolutely. And so to find time to give volunteer time to any charity or any organisation, it's not just in Dementia Action, it's just not in bereavement support. If you go across the board, go to my church, for example, it's always the same group of people that do everything, and you see that in every single organisation. I've just had found out that I'm a Rotarian. I belong to the Rotary Club of Tunbridge, and sadly the Rotary Club in Crowborough has just had to close. Now that's Rotary is an organisation that is embedded in voluntary work, and when organisations like that are having to shut down because there's not enough people who want to do it.
Well, Christine, you're here today. Hopefully that's banging the drum for your organisations. Hopefully show people that there are organisations like out there that they can help and also get involved in. Hopefully we'll be hearing more throughout the course of the programme. Christine Parker there from Tonbridge DFC, Dementia Friendly Community, also a member of Friends Together Bereavement Support. So we've got an old friend with us as well, Major Harris Gianaris, the Commanding Officer of Gillingham Salvation Army.